Hi, I'm Weapon XO-Manowar, Dan Umpton. See, it works for so many different things. Anyway, this is the Doomcast, and there's been a lot of things that have happened in the last 2 weeks in comics. No one thing could I devote a single episode to, so here's a giant grab bag of all of the news that happened in the last 2 weeks. Of course, the Justice League and Spider-Man Homecoming trailers came out. I've got stuff coming for both of those later on this week, but it's worth noting that these two trailers again show the marked differences in each of the DC and Marvel universes. Marvel is going to take their characters and change them to the spirit of the character itself and make them fun and accessible and bright. And DC is going to continue employing Zack Snyder. See? This is what we want, DC. It's not hard. Bright, colorful, superpowers. Grant Morrison. That's it. That's all you need to do. But, speaking of DC, the comics world lost a legend recently. Bernie Wrightson, best known for his gothic and detailed horror illustration, and as the co-creator of Swamp Thing, passed away at the age of 68 after a battle with brain cancer. Wrightson's pencils inspired a generation of artists towards a more hyper-realistic and almost exaggerated style, which became super popular in the 90s and continues in some aspects today. People like Liefeld and Will Portasio, Ian Churchill, Mark Silvestri, and the like owe him a debt of gratitude. Then there's the relaunch of Valiant's flagship book, XO-Manowar. Matt Kindt is an incredible writer and an incredible artist in his own right, and he's taking Eric of Dacia to strange new places. The book is gorgeous, with Tomas Giorilla's lush art, and depicts a strange new planet that Eric's decided to reside on. After the events of the first volume of XO-Manowar, which included Eric returning to life after being eaten to death by living alien gods, Eric left Earth because that was the kind of shit that was happening to him on Earth. Also, he left behind the newly time-displaced Visigoth people who now live in western Nebraska, and the memory of his new young wife, Sana. Eric has also left the armor Shanhara behind as well, so to speak, burying it on the farm that he works on this distant planet. He is a stranger in a strange land, and though he's taken a new alien lover, he's been conscripted into military service in a war between this planet's alien factions. Lots and lots and lots of aliens. Managing to handily survive the impossible task of storming the cliffs of one of the faction's bases and not die, he wins the favor of his conscripted general. It's a weird, wild ride that feels almost more at place in an issue of Metal Hurlant or Heavy Metal than a Valiant book, but here it is in all its glorious space fantasy. I'm a pretty huge Matt Kindt fan, and I'll always pick up anything he's doing, but this might be the best of both worlds. One of my favorite writers is working on one of my favorite characters. That's very exciting. I came to love Venditti writing XO on his run, but he's still writing Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps, so I've got my Venditti fix, and now Kindt's taking the reins of XO. I couldn't be happier, really. That's not true. Guillermo del Toro could be filming an Aaron Sorkin scripted Justice League. Hell, they could have made the George Miller Justice League that they were going to make in the late 90s, but they didn't. No, this is the one we get. Zack Snyder Justice League. Neat. I also want to give a shout out to Space Rider's Galaxy of Brutality, a comic that I bought only because the name was metal and the art looked rad. Yes, you should take a chance on titles like this every once in a while. The art is insane. It really is fantastic, and the story is tight and brief. Just like my sex game. It's about a group of space pirates, or heroes, called the Space Riders, who ride around in a skull ship. Yes, it's a ship made of a skull. Whose skull? I don't know. But it's called the Santa Muerte, and their El Capitan ends up fighting off some space pirates and getting sent into a dimension of limbo that's just full of naked space babes. It's bonkers. I'll read anything when the main character's best friend is an anthropomorphic baboon. That's why I like Tolstoy's work so much. Thanks, everybody. That's all I have this week. Of course, there is a great big sale coming up April the 15th at Cape's Cafe, Uncle Sam vs. the World. It's tax day. It's also the weekend of Easter, but comics are going to be on steep discount, so are drinks. So run in, get you a coffee, get you some cheap comics. Also later this week, I'll be dropping some, I'll have a little bit of fun with the Justice League and Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy trailers when I get to them. Join me next week when I'm going to look at the secret histories of the Marvel and DC universes.